Welcome to the Rediscovering Your Creative Self podcast, where you get a weekly dose of inspiration and motivation for your creative practice. Many of us growing up had growing pains. And growing pains are when your muscles are growing and the bones are growing. And you'd go to the doctor and they'd say, that's just growing pains. Well, we have that in art, artistic growing pains. When I'm teaching in an undergraduate program, or even in a graduate program, in the undergraduate program, many of the students, some of them freshmen, going to college for the first time, being away from their, sort of comfort zone of being with the family. And now they have to get their own meals and do their own laundry and try to, find their way with the new college community and courses and things that they're doing. And about mid-semester, we always have check-ins, and I have lots of one-on-ones with my students. And many of them come to me and they say, "Oh, I have so many classes and I have so much work and I don't know what I want to be as an artist anymore. And I used to think I was really good in high school, but now I don't know." And so there's so many things that they talk about, and I listen to all of them. And then at the end of their mini crisis, okay, I tell them, you're just having growing pains. And they kind of look at me. And I explain to them, let me tell you about what's really going on. I said, picture yourself as a farmer mowing down a field of very tall corn stalks, that kind of are at the end of the season. And, in high school and previous, you were mowing down this immense field. And it looked great because it's like, wow, I'm looking at this field and a lot of open space. I really accomplished a lot of stuff. I know a lot of things. And then what happens is we pick you up, we give you a new plow, and we put you in a new part of your field because your field is vast, and we plunk you down. And now you're trying to figure out how the new plow works. You're seeing corn stalks everywhere. You are about halfway through the first semester and you see no accomplishments. If anything, you don't see how you're moving forward. But let me explain what's really going on. If we take ourselves and we rise above that cornfield, what you'll see is many sections that you've plowed over the course of your life. And then what you can also see is this new little small section that you plowed with a little more effort is going to actually attach to and reach other areas that you've plowed over your life. So everything that you're learning new, it's challenging, it's hard, it's requiring you to use different parts of your brain that haven't plowed a pathway yet. In our brain, every time we learn new things, the brain is amazing. It's connecting new pathways. It's like our brain cells are going to boot camp, new areas of our brain. Our little brain cells are like those boot camp movies where you see the soldiers on the first day and, the drill sergeant gets them out of bed at like 4 a.m. and with a big horn, and they're all like falling out of bed and they can't jump the wall and they're barely making the obstacle course. And it's just like so struggling and they're exhausted and they're just a mess. But eventually they get out of boot camp and they're amazing and they're strong, right? So that's what our brain cells are doing. We feel the growing pains because our brain is trying to create new pathways that did not exist before. But I can tell you this, when you do create those new pathways and they start connecting with the things you already know, then you start to really rock and roll with your work. So if you've ever felt at any point where you are learning a bunch of new things and you're questioning, should I even be an artist? Just like my students sometimes do. And it's not just the undergraduate students, it's the graduate students, because sometimes many of them, most of them working artists, in many different fields. Some are in design, some are in illustration, some are in fine art. Some of them work three-dimensionally and sculpt. And when they come in, they hadn't been to school in many, many years. It could be decades they hadn't been to school. And all of a sudden they're learning all kinds of new things. And it's challenging. It's challenging. But I think the ones that embrace the challenge and they say, I'm putting all this effort and money, if you're going to an MFA program or an undergraduate program, all this money and effort, I better be growing. Those brain cells better be tracking down new paths, because if everything's super comfortable, then I'd be worried. Okay. If everything's super comfortable, that means you're not going to be growing in the way that you should be growing with the new stuff that you're bringing in. So I leave you with this. If you're ever feeling frustrated or feeling like things aren't moving forward or you're moving backwards, all of those feelings, I've heard so many of them. All I can say to you is, great. You're moving forward. You're growing. All you're having are just growing pains. And with that, I say have a wonderful week. And as always, create from the heart.
This audio series is part of my Navigating the Labyrinth of the Creative Mind Patreon endeavor. The site uniquely intermixes self-reflection and personal storytelling with exploratory mixed media techniques and expressive approaches to art making, elevating the creative consciousness and guiding each person on his or her own path to discovering the creative spark that resides within. Check us out at www.patreon.com/Lisa L. Cyr, and that's spelled CYR.